Chapter 1. Exotic Beast Transport Vehicle. Ladies and gentlemen, the train has arrived at its final destination, Fuin District Station. Please take your personal belongings and exit in an orderly manner. In the aisle of the carriage, Chen took off his backpack and was about to leave when he saw an uncle from the neighboring seat getting up with a limp. The uncle was not tall and struggled to reach for the luggage on the rack. Chen stepped forward and helped him take down two large suitcases. "Thank you, young man." The bearded uncle smiled warmly and thanked Chen. His weathered, dark face was covered in shocking scars. Unlike other passengers who kept their distance, Chen smiled and asked, "Uncle Chu, are you bringing so much stuff home by yourself? What's inside?" They had already gotten to know each other during the train ride. This uncle, named Chu Nan, was said to have been working hard away from home for many years and only decided to return home recently due to health issues. "Not much, just some scrap metal I've collected over the years." Chu Nan waved his hand, his tone casual. "Are you going out again in the future?" "Not anymore. He'll stay at home with my wife and kids." Looking at the old photo and the pendant around his neck, Chu Tiannan's voice choked a little. It was a picture of his wife and daughter from over a decade. It had been over 10 years since he last returned home. "I owe them so much." Chu Tiannan raised his head, holding back tears, then smiled at Chen. "My daughter is the same age as you and is taking the college entrance examination this year." The two walked out of the station together. "Are you taking the arts or martial arts exam?" "Martial arts exam." Chu Tiannan freed one hand to pat Chen on the shoulder, squeezing it hard with a hint of surprise in his eyes. "Good kid, you have a solid foundation. Have you decided which martial arts university to apply to?" Chen thought for a moment. "Dongma Martial Arts University, I guess. One of the top 4 martial arts universities in Daxia." Chu Tiannan looked at him with admiration. "Ambitious, but it's a bit difficult. Have you considered our local Donglan Martial Arts University? It's also a nationally renowned top martial arts university and close to home." Chen's expression changed slightly, shaking his head. "I just want to leave this home, as far away as possible." Chu Tiannan frowned, falling silent for a moment, but did not ask further. "All right, let's leave it at that. We'll take a taxi back." Outside the station, Chu Tiannan took the suitcase from Chen's hands and joked, "Let's exchange contact information. He'll introduce my daughter to you later." Chen awkwardly scratched the back of his head. "Uncle Chu, I..." Suddenly, a piercing siren sounded. The two looked towards the distance in unison that a large armored special vehicle was speeding towards them. The vehicle had the words "Danger, do not approach" printed on it. "What is this?" "An exotic beast transport vehicle," Chu Tiannan explained. "It should be that the military captured a rare exotic beast and is transporting it for blood and genetic analysis." "So that's it." Chen nodded, looking thoughtfully at Chu Tiannan beside him. This uncle seemed to know quite a bit. Could he be working in the field of exotic beast research? Before he could ask, a sudden change occurred. The special armored vehicle roared past them, speeding dangerously and almost crushing the social vehicles along the way into scrap metal. Chu Tiannan squinted, sensing something was off. Something's not right. This was the main road of Fuin District, one of the most prosperous and densely populated areas of Donglan Bay City. Even special vehicles could not speed over 100 kilometers per hour in broad daylight with heavy traffic. It was neither legal nor reasonable, unless... Bang! A loud explosion echoed between the surrounding high-rise buildings. Hundreds of meters away, the special armored vehicle crashed into the roadside greenbelt to avoid pedestrians and flipped over on the spot. Social vehicles came to a halt. Many drivers and passengers got out to watch, hesitating whether to go help. "What's that smell?" Chen frowned, his nostrils flaring as he vaguely caught a whiff of a burnt odor in the air. At that moment, the armored vehicle's door was pushed open, and a fully armed soldier crawled out awkwardly, shouting to the surrounding vehicles and pedestrians. "Run, run." He seemed seriously injured, his voice nearly hoarse. Then, he fired a warning shot into the sky. Accompanied by the gunfire, the heavy armored vehicle behind the soldier began to shake violently. Thud, thud, thud. It sounded like something extremely powerful was trapped inside. The deep growls and crashing noises mixed together, sending chills down one's spine. It was hard to imagine what kind of creature could shake a heavy armored vehicle weighing several tons as if it were a child's toy. Drivers and pedestrians nearby, who sensed the danger, immediately turned to flee. However, it was too late. Boom! The armored vehicle's tailgate was forcefully smashed open. Scorching waves of heat began to rage wildly, a canine exotic beast slowly emerged from within, dark red flames spewing from its cracked skin, scorching the air into twisted ripples. It stood as tall as 3 adult bulls stacked on top of each other. With each step, it crushed the ground, leaving behind smoldering black paw prints on the cement road. On its terrifying canine head, a pair of blood-red vertical pupils coldly scanned everything around. A burst of bullets flew towards it, doing nothing. It felt like raindrops hitting the body. The infernal hellhound suddenly turned its head, fixing its gaze on the soldier who was shooting at it. Its massive mouth opened wide, revealing rows of sharp fangs like steel needles. Thick, lava-like saliva dripped slowly onto the ground, instantly corroding a deep pit the size of a bowl into the cement. In the blink of an eye, the soldier vanished from sight. Only a pair of legs remained dangling from the bloodied teeth of the infernal hellhound. With another bite, the soldier was completely chewed into pieces and swallowed whole. But its appetite was far from satisfied, and it turned its gaze toward the citizens on the street. Exotic beast. It's an exotic beast. Everyone run, there's so much blood. People, dead people, how terrifying. The terror spread wildly among the citizens. It had been many years since an exotic beast rampaged in the urban area. For most of the people present, this was their first time seeing a living exotic beast up close in reality. And it was an extremely terrifying and powerful exotic beast. Roar. The infernal hellhound let out a massive roar. The terrifying sound waves carried a wave of lava-like heat, rapidly expanding to a radius of several kilometers. Many pedestrians who couldn't run far in time were shaken to the ground, sitting helplessly with faces full of fear, staring desperately at the infernal hellhound as it approached. Its first target was a little girl about 5 or 6 years old. Tenderer meat and sweeter blood. The little girl lay on the ground, her face dirty, looking around in confusion. Suddenly, she cried out, "Mommy, I want my mommy." Seeing this, Chen dropped his backpack and dashed over. Save her. This was the only thought in his mind. Chapter 2. Bloodied Epaulet. In the last test before the college entrance examination, Chen's life level broke the school's historical record, reaching an astonishing 0.91. It should be noted that for an ordinary adult who does not practice martial arts, reaching a life level of 0.5 is already the limit. The so-called life level is a broad term that includes a comprehensive assessment of a person's genetic dimensions, vitality, intensity, and physical fitness in 3 major aspects. The life level 1.0 is the threshold for entering the martial arts stage. As a recent graduate who just experienced the college entrance examination, Chen's life level is already infinitely close to that of a first-level warrior. Moreover, his speed is astonishing, able to run 100 meters in under 8 seconds, significantly faster than the world record from the old era. Rushing ahead of the infernal hellhound, Chen performed a forward roll to scoop up the little girl and then fled desperately. The food that was almost within reach was snatched away, and the infernal hellhound's blood-red eyes suddenly erupted with a strong, killing intent. In an instant, the ground collapsed, and the buildings trembled. It leaped up and crossed hundreds of meters in an instant, landing in front of Chen. Feeling the strong vitality emanating from the young man, the infernal hellhound drooled greedily. Just right, a buy an edge at one free deal. It swallowed him whole. The overwhelming sense of pressure made it difficult for Chen to move, almost eliminating his chances of escape. Chen covered the little girl's eyes and softly comforted her. "Don't be afraid. Brother will protect you." At that moment, a figure shot through the air like lightning. "I'm here, you go." It was that uncle, Chu Tiannan, who walked with a limp. "Uncle Chu, you?" Chu Tiannan's momentum surged, and with a punch, he forced the infernal hellhound, which was several times bigger than him, to retreat. He glanced back at Chen, his smile still simple, like an ordinary farmer from the old era in a documentary. "You brat, you have no skills but still dare to act the hero?" Chu Tiannan laughed heartily. "I didn't tell you before, but actually, I'm a soldier." A faint light flickered at his fingertips. A sharp alloy combat knife appeared in Chu Tiannan's hand. With a solemn expression, he turned his back to Chen and the hundreds of citizens, slowly moving forward. "As long as I'm not dead. Saving people is not your job, you little rascal. Go." Chen remained silent, nodded, and carried the little girl away. To think it's a peak 6th level infernal hellhound, truly rare. Chu Tiannan's rough palm slowly brushed over the cold blade. Huh. He took a deep breath. In the world, an endless stream of spiritual energy was absorbed into his body. Soon, Chu Tianan's aura climbed to its peak state. Seventh level beginner. The infernal hellhound rubbed its paws together, a hint of caution flashing in its eyes. Suddenly, Chu Tianan took the initiative to strike first, swinging a fierce and domineering blade of light. The infernal hellhound easily dodged, then engaged in close combat with the approaching Chu Tianan. Soon, it realized that this human warrior was not as powerful as he seemed. Or rather, he had been heavily injured beforehand. The seventh level aura he had displayed was merely a bluff. Chu Tianan's actual combat power was even below the peak of the sixth level. Within just a few exchanges, he found himself at a disadvantage, being suppressed by the infernal hellhound. Chen hid in a nearby building. After handing the little girl over to a familiar-looking woman for safekeeping, he went alone to the rooftop on the sixth floor. On the road hundreds of meters away, Chu Tianan fought fiercely against the infernal hellhound, locked in a stalemate. "Uncle Chu, hold on a little longer. Reinforcements will arrive in 2 minutes." Chen silently prayed. He was the first to call the special forces of Donglan City, explaining the situation on the scene and requesting powerful warriors to come to the rescue. In fact, he was not the first person to make the call. The operator informed him that the reinforcements were already on the way. Chen looked around. Most of the civilians who had successfully escaped were hiding in safe areas, quietly watching the battle from afar. However, with his excellent eyesight, he noticed a group of people on an open balcony across the street, leaning over the railing, chatting and laughing, pointing and discussing. As if everything happening had nothing to do with them, it seemed as if Chu Tianan's self-sacrifice, ignoring his old injuries, was just a self-indulgent joke. Chen's gaze shifted downwards, and he saw a prominent sign hanging on the outer wall of the balcony Deep Blue Martial Arts Academy. At this moment, the battle began to tilt. Chen had to shift his attention to Chu Tianan. He saw the infernal hellhound suddenly raise its head, letting out a deafening roar from deep within its chest, followed by a torrent of lava shooting out 100 meters long. The high temperature instantly melted the cars on the road. The ground turned into a crimson river of magma, and the shops along the street collapsed under the heat, turning into a rain of fire. In an instant, cries of despair erupted. Many citizens, who naively thought they could be safe by hiding in buildings, paid the price for their arrogance with their lives. Flesh was vaporized on the spot, and bones disappeared without a trace. If Chen hadn't hidden far enough away, he might not have escaped either. Beast. Chu Tianan was already blinded by rage. As a soldier of the Great Xia, he always remembered his mission to protect every citizen of the Great Xia. After over 30 years in the military, the only ones who had died in front of him were comrades, not civilians. But this time, it was an exception. Hundreds of vibrant lives were slaughtered before his eyes. Chu Tianan felt unprecedented grief and guilt. As a soldier, even though he had retired from the front lines, the honor and mission that this identity brought him were lifelong. He had, for the first time, failed in his duty. With tears in his eyes, the boundless hatred and anger ignited within him. "Old buddy, let's fight one last battle together and slay this beast." A surge of overwhelming blade intent was released layer by layer, ultimately evolving into Chu Tianan's strongest strike in his life. On the other side, the infernal hellhound's hind leg muscles tightened like burning steel cables. It leaped up and smashed towards Chu Tianan with tremendous force. In an instant, the ground within 100 meters trembled like a boiling sea, numerous cracks bursting open, and the spewing magma devoured everything. After the smoke cleared, everything fell silent. Chen looked into the distance and found the infernal hellhound cut in half by a single strike, completely still. He quickly rushed downstairs, searching the streets for Chu Tianan's figure. "Uncle Chu, where are you?" Not long after, Chen found Chu Tianan disfigured and gasping for breath under a tree that had been burned to charcoal. Next to him, the combat knife had shattered into countless fragments. Chu Tianan was helped up by Chen. "Uncle Chu, hold on. They'll take you to the best martial arts hospital." Chu Tianan slowly opened his cracked lips, shook his head with a faint smile, and said, "No need. I exhausted all my life force with that last strike. I can't be saved now." His voice grew weaker, and his breath quickly faded. "This, I'll give it to you. Chu Tiannan took out a metallic object from his pocket and handed it to Ji Chun. Tell my wife and daughter I'm sorry. This time, I can't return home on time. Figures began to gather around. All units, stand by, secure the scene. Injured found. Medics, hurry to save people. Classmate, this place is very dangerous. Hurry and leave. Call headquarters. We have taken control of the scene. The rampaging beast has been slain, and we're counting casualties as the special forces set up a cordon. Ji Chun was also taken to a safe area. He watched as Chu Tiannan was covered with a white cloth and lifted onto an ambulance. Uncle Chu, just like that, died. He remembered him saying on the train that today was his 48th birthday, and his wife and daughter had prepared a lavish birthday dinner for him at home. After more than a decade without returning, their family of 3 must have a lot to talk about, right? But all of that was no longer possible. Ji Chun stood dazed for a long time, and as the sky gradually darkened, he silently turned and left, in the palm of his tightly clenched hand. There lies a blood-stained shoulder. Insignia.